Michael Araujo is the Executive Director of Rhode Island Jobs with Justice, a coalition of labor, faith, and community organizations that fights to improve the conditions of Rhode Island's working families. He has worked tirelessly to further the organization's mission of organizing and supporting workers to take on employers who are treating them poorly and bringing working people from different communities together to fight for systemic change at a larger scale.
Hello, everybody. Hello. So I was thinking I could make a mint selling sunscreen to this crowd. Thank you for the invite to come speak to this, and also thank you to the organizers for putting this louder.
I usually just scream at people.
So I'll hold it like this. Is that better for you? All right, can you hear me? All right, if you can't hear me, wave your hand. All right, good. So I'm Mike Araujo. I'm the Executive Director of Rhode Island Jobs with Justice, and we are an organization of more than 60 labor unions, community organizations, faith, and student groups, representing more than 60,000 people in the state of Rhode Island at last count. So we're growing every day. We tend to focus on economic issues. We focus on the right for workers to organize. We focus on the right of workers to get a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, something that's part of the climate issue, even though we don't tend to think of it as the same thing. The choices that a worker makes in the job they take is based on what's available to them in the moment, and sometimes we can see our lines being drawn, us versus them, worker versus environmentalist. I can tell you right now that every worker goes home and lives in the same world that you live in. That they go home and they raise the same children, they send their kids to the same schools that you send, well, maybe, that you do. But the choices that we've made as a population, and looking out at this population right now, are the things that brought us to this moment today. In many ways, not to disagree with the representative, we did invite this. We did ask for this. Our housing policy that excludes people from certain housing forces them to live in environmentally unstable or environmentally poisoned neighborhoods. Our school policy, where white flight, where white families withdraw their children from urban schools, leads to deterioration of public schools and is a factor of racism and a factor of the environment. The two are hand in hand with each other. And to separate them, we do so at our peril. So we need to rethink how we think about it and say, when we say the environmentalist movement and when we say the green movement, we have to say Black Lives Matter. When we say the environmental movement and when we say reforming ourselves, we have to look at the root cause. It's the way we distribute property and the way we distribute wealth in this system. We have to understand that unrestrained capitalism has poisoned us, and some of us in this room, in this field here, or whatever else is, have benefited from that. And we have to acknowledge the benefits that we've received from it. And we have to acknowledge our responsibility when it comes to that. When we move into a neighborhood that doesn't have a good bus line, we are making an environmental choice. And we have to reject that choice, right? What this is calling for is a climate movement that is based on total justice and total humanity, where we include every aspect of every human being into our movement and start from the fringe and work to the center. Start in Olneyville, where companies like Brady Sullivan spew lead into the air every single day because they get a historic tax credit that I know some of you have benefited from. Is that true? Yeah, it is true. I know it is. I actually can identify a few of you. So we know that, and we support that because we love our city to look beautiful, but we understand that that beauty sometimes comes at the cost of other children's health, and that they're not always our children, so we don't see it. What we need to do is reset the ecology of our heart and the ecology of our desire to do better when it comes to treating our people. Who here is a landlord? Are there any landlords in here? Anyone renting place? There we go. So Rhode Island has an incredibly high rental rate approaching that of Boston. That is a negative that forces working people into more environmentally unstable neighborhoods. We have a duty to reduce that rent. We have a duty to increase rates of pay. And we have a duty to support workers' rights to organize. Because it is only through economic democracy and only through on-the-ground working people organize to combat the system that is destroying our planet, will we win? We have economic power, well, we have political power, and in this field we have probably more political power than we have economic power, really. How many people here have supported a union organizing drive? How many people are members of a union? How many people have shown up on a picket line? If you want them to be here for you, we have to commit to being there for them. When the police are abusing our people, that is our city and our environment that we live in. We have to make a commitment to standing up to police brutality in the city. That's part of our environment. And we have to include this system. We have to make sure that women are fully empowered as complete human beings and not allow the church or state limit the ability for women to choose their lives. All of that is all of us. We need to have an ecology and a climate justice system that is based on solidarity of working people first and then come out to the hills. We have to reset by establishing economic democracy inside the workplace by supporting every organizing effort that there is until we get a union density that is so great we can flip a switch and say shut it down when we don't like what's going on. The building behind me does have power, but the real power that lives here is down by the Woonasquatucket River in those tenements that are filled with families that go to work every day. The real power here is in the students that go to schools every day who choose to walk out, and choose to stand up, and choose to organize. We have to actively support them with our bodies, with our money, with our intelligence, and with our political power when we have it.
Yes.
So will you join me on May 1st in standing up with workers, climate activists, women, and the indigenous and immigrant community? Will we take a step to finally alter the system and actually address the root problem and say capitalism has screwed us and admit it and not lie about it anymore? The right to private property has destroyed this system. We've destroyed it, and we can bring it back though. Our communities are stronger when they're shared communities, when we have an economy that's based on shared caring and solidarity than one on greed, ownership, and fear. When I see this movement, I see our growth as a black liberation, a women's liberation, queer liberation movement, because that is our environment and we need to take it back. Together.